Hello everybody, and welcome to Weeds and Wisdom. It's Thursday, November 7th, and we are here to talk about parasites. Before we get started, just want to wish everybody well. Hope you've had a good couple of days, and let you know that all is well and things are going to get better. We've got some really positive changes coming our way, especially in light of changes that are going to be made. Robert F. Kennedy is definitely an advocate for people like us, and he's going to work hard to get our food cleaned up and pharmaceutical companies in line and get us back on track to be a healthier, happier population. So I'm excited about that because it's fun to think about not having to fight the system all the time. But for those of you that don't know who I am, or maybe tuning in for the first time, I'm Wendy. I am the founder of Crooked House Herbals. I am in Northwest Arkansas, and I am a master herbalist of almost 13 years. So I welcome you, and here we talk about all kinds of things, and all things herbal. My motto is, because nature heals you best. And I really truly believe that. If you would like to know more about my story and how I went from being an educator in the school system to educating online and at workshops and different things in different venues like that, I have my story and my testimony on my website. I'm very happy and proud to be here today, and I am looking forward to helping as many of you as I possibly can before I am no longer on the planet. So that's what I do, and I do have a doctorate in education. I have a master's in herbology and a master's in education as well. I am, like I said, I am almost 13 years now as a master herbalist. I grow my own herbs. I make all my own formulas. And I will never stop learning. Every day is a new day when it comes to learning, and I am a lifelong learner. I always have been. That's why I loved education so much. But as far as learning about herbs and what God has given us here on the planet and our bodies and how we're all connected, we'll never know it all. We'll never learn it all. So it's a lifelong journey, and I, for one, am happy to be on this road. So I welcome you to come with me. Tonight we're going to talk about parasites. Why? Because I personally believe they are the culprits for, I'm going to say, 90% of what's going on in our bodies, disease-wise and other ways. And I'm just going to leave that statement there. I'm going to cover some information, and then you can make your own decisions about what you think about parasites. I think it's interesting that I've been noticing, like, even on the internet and on social media, people are becoming more and more aware of parasites. And I've said it all along. I've said it for years. We all have parasites in us, just like you all have cancer cells in you. It's what you do about either killing them in your body or feeding them and fostering them that determine whether or not you become sometimes fatally ill or, you know, at the very least uncomfortable and sick. Okay, so parasites, they probably, you know, I'm gonna say 40, 50, maybe even 60 years ago, they were not really as big a thing as they are now. And we can, you know, we can assume we know why. Okay, I'm not really sure what just happened, but can somebody give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me and I am still here, because my phone just went off and then came back on. So hopefully I'm still here. Anybody? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hopefully you can. Okay, Donna, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Because I just had a weird thing happen with my phone and my connection. I want to make sure I'm still transmitting. Yes? Excellent. Okay, thank you. All right, so, okay, some statistics. 9 out of 10 people in America are living with parasites. We're talking about things like tapeworms and roundworms and various other kinds. Hi, Brenda. It's good to see you. There are a lot of different types of parasites, and 9 out of 10 Americans have them in their bodies. Probably a lot of them. It's easy to contract parasites. Even if you live a clean, healthy lifestyle, they get into your body from undercooked food. You know, I think about all the times, I'm not a big, huge meat eater anyway, but, you know, I've seen people eat red meat just like rare, you know, just like, I don't know, they just warm it up on the thing and it's not even hardly cooked. The same though with undercooked fish and those kinds of things as well. Drinking tap water. Okay, and those of you that know me and have heard me go on and on and on, you know that I am a big proponent of steam distilled water. Touching infected doorknobs. Okay, even walking barefoot in the grass, which I love to walk barefoot in the grass, and I love the effect it has on me as far as grounding and that kind of thing. But yeah, especially if you live where I live, because I have every kind of animal you could possibly imagine. My ducks and my geese roam my grass all day long, so there's plenty of poop out there. There's plenty of other stuff, and so, you know, there's a natural occurrence of parasites, as well as a more severe, I'm going to say, man-made occurrence of parasites as well. But most of them, well, some of them will just go through your system, and your stomach acid will take care of them, and they're gone. So you don't, I mean, they're not all dwelling in you all the time. But a lot of them will set up shop in your gut. Okay? And they tear holes in the lining of your stomach. They cause uncomfortable digestive symptoms, but that's not the only type of havoc they can wreak. It paints a picture, and I wish that I could get my Facebook Live thing to work on my computer, because I would be happy to pull you up some really actually scary videos of parasites inside humans. But I know at one point, and I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, there was a video going around on social media. I don't know if it was social media or YouTube. I can't remember. But anyway, I saw it and I went, whoa. And there were, I think, 4 vials, and each of them had all kinds of snaky, nasty looking parasites in them in water, and they had all been taken out of people who had died. Okay, they were deceased for one reason or another, and they had all these parasites in them, and they were literally, so somebody had made an object lesson out of it somehow, or maybe they were gonna test them or study them or whatever, but it was really gross. And I thought, sometimes we need the visuals. And there are some, if you Google parasites in humans, images of parasites in humans, if you want to do that, I wouldn't recommend doing it before you go to sleep. Maybe in the morning. Check it out. But it is very interesting, and you will see that I am not just, I'm not talking through the top of my head here. It's real, and it's real enough for me to feel like I need to talk to you about it this week. But I also have had several people contact me, and they say, I've got this symptom and I've got this symptom, and you know what, it just keeps coming back to me. It's like, sounds like parasites. So I'm going to talk to you about some symptoms and some ways to detect whether or not you think you might have parasites, and then what we can do about it. Okay, it's not like they're going to take over your body like aliens or anything. You can take care of it. You just need to know. Knowledge is power, right? All right, gastrointestinal signs tend to be the most common. So you've got really bad gas, bloating, stomach cramps, nausea or vomiting, and loose stools. That's why I said 9 out of 10 Americans have parasites. Right there, those 5 symptoms. Who doesn't have those, right? Most people do. But the misery of parasite infection goes beyond the GI tract. Here's some other symptoms that you may not connect the dots with. Fatigue, weight loss, constant hunger. Even after eating a large meal, you're still hungry. Most of the time, that's a tapeworm, because they just eat everything that you are eating. Joint pain. Oh no, you have arthritis. Well, maybe you have parasites. Depression. Okay, nobody really ever talks about depression in connection with parasites. Anxiety. Okay, so you got the both ends of the pendulum. Skin rashes and hives. Poor sleep. Itching and irritation around your anus and your genitals, just itchy. And repeat yeast infections. Women especially have a tendency to get yeast infections more often, especially like in the summer and that kind of thing. But we need to start thinking outside of the box a little bit, okay? And realize that, like I said, we are living in a time where we are exposed to many more parasites than we have in the past. And you can get them from so many different places. I think the whole touching the doorknob thing, and I think when I used to teach middle school, do you know how many doorknobs, and you know how many kids touch the doorknobs? And I didn't go there because I figured, well, my immune system is either going to be stronger or I'm going to die, one or the other, because I am not going to live like a phobic person, and I have never been a real advocate of a whole lot of like sanitizer and that kind of stuff for that reason. You need to let your immune system build up immunity to things. So the first year I taught school, I was sick a lot, but I built up an immunity, and I got to where I never got sick. But yeah, the doorknob thing, if anybody, I mean, any of you that work in a public place, doorknobs are a big deal. Okay, as you can see, parasites can make hosts feel miserable in many ways. You got gastrointestinal issues, you've got all of these symptoms that I just mentioned, and a lot of it can just be fixed easily by fixing your gut. So, okay, so let's talk about how would I know if I had parasites? Okay, you have these symptoms, but you know, these are also symptoms of a lot of other things. I think it's interesting though that a lot of times people will have some of these, especially the GI symptoms, and you know, they go to the doctor and the first thing they say is, oh yeah, you have IBS. They slap that label on you. Did they even check you for parasites before they told you that? There's a test they can do. I mean, you can check your stools and find out if you have them. But how many people have actually been checked for parasites, or if you've just been diagnosed with IBS? So, dysentery, which is basically having really loose stools that are bloody and mucousy, that is a serious sign of parasites. Okay? And a rash, you know, like I said, down there, you know, a lot of times people think, well, I got a rash because I have diarrhea. Well, in a way, yes, but could all be caused from the same thing. Stomach pain, tenderness in your stomach, feeling tired. And you know, logically, especially we as women, especially if we're mothers, we have just kind of gone down the road, well, yeah, you know, it makes sense. I've had diarrhea and I've got this and I got this, so no wonder I feel tired, right? Because I've depleted or whatever. But you want to just maybe go that extra mile and think, I wonder if I have parasites. Okay? Doctors can test for parasites different ways. Like I said, the easiest way is a stool sample, but sometimes, you know, you don't want to go carrying your poop into the doctor. So there are ways that they can like swab and do different ways to check you for parasites. Okay, so then the next question comes, because we always ask this question, how can I deworm myself? Right? Okay, so let's look at it this way. If you go through a deworming regimen, it's not going to hurt you if you don't have worms. But if you do have parasites, it's going to clean them out. So it's a win-win in that sense, because it beats being told that you have IBS and you're just going to have to live with it. If you know, okay, I know now that the symptom, and here's the thing, just because you deworm yourself once and you get rid of your parasites, it's not a permanent, a one and done thing. How many times have I talked to you guys about quarterly cleansing? Do this right along with that. You know, every 3 months we need to do a cleanse. Why? Because we live in a completely toxic world. And even if you are trying really hard to eat clean and eat healthy, you are, I promise you, you are way more toxic than you were 20 years ago. Our food is not really what we think it is a lot of the times. And even if you are trying to eat really clean and a lot of vegetables and fruits and whatnot, where's it been grown? What's been put on it? You know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so again, a lot of this stuff has been out of our control. There's only so much we can do. But we can control parasites. So remember when I was telling you, you know, when we were doing our gallbladder cleanse and we did a liver cleanse and we did all these things, and I'd say, okay, let's do it around the full moon, because that's when parasites are most active in your body. And people go, oh, we have parasites? I say, yep. But cleansing, you know, if you do it around that time, they're all going to be active, and it'll be way easier to cleanse, you know, get them out of you, because there's more of them moving around, and there's more of them, you know, awake and alive. So the thing is, it's just like anything else, any other little critters. You get out the bulk of them, but there's still going to be more that will hatch or, you know, come around again. So it's something that you need to really be aware of, and you need to take care of on a pretty much continual basis until we get to heaven. That's all I'm going to say, okay? Because you will be really surprised if you are suffering from parasites right now, which I would be willing to bet most of you are. Then not having parasites in your body is going to give you a whole new lease on life. Okay? Okay, so let's first talk about an easy one, which is diatomaceous earth. Now, let me see if my dog is going to cooperate with us. What is it? What, you want to go out? 1 second. Come on. Okay, so diatomaceous earth, there's two kinds. You can, but so you need to be aware and get the food grade diatomaceous earth. Now you can get it at Tractor Supply. You can get it at any feed store. I mean, you could order it online if you'd just rather go that route, but make sure it's food grade, okay? I have used diatomaceous earth for years and years because I give it to all my animals. That's the way I deworm them. But people can do it too. It works by absorbing moisture from the parasites. So you're basically like sucking them dry, okay? It causes them to dehydrate and die, like mealworms. You know those bags of dried mealworms that you buy to feed your chickens? Well, they've basically just been dried out. So you use diatomaceous earth for deworming. You're gonna mix, and okay, here's the thing with this. It works really well too, like on plants, like in your garden, to keep worms off and that kind of stuff, because it's got it's like a silica or something. I mean, it's like it's sharp to them. It cuts them. So for that reason, when you're using it, be careful not to breathe it in, okay? It's very powdery. So when you open up your diatomaceous earth, this is what I do. I put a little thing across my face, like tie a towel or something across my face, and I'll dump some into a container, because it usually comes in a bag. And that way it's not poofing every time I want to use it. And then I can just take the lid off the container and use a spoon or a scoop, and it's not poofing up in my face. So I would recommend you do that, just because usually you buy it in like a 10-pound bag. It's super cheap. It's not expensive. And it's great. I mean, give it to your dogs, your cats. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Okay, so mix a tablespoon of your food grade diatomaceous earth in water or juice, and drink this on an empty stomach. And then so you're going to start with that tablespoon and then increase it over time to where you are maybe taking a tablespoon and a half, or you could just increase the frequency. But it'll eliminate roundworms, whipworms, pinworms, hookworms within 7 days. Okay? So, to be most effective, diatomaceous earth should be fed for at least 30 days. And this is, I just got through telling you why. Because you'll get rid of the first batch, and then more will hatch, or, it's not going to kill the ones that aren't full-blown parasites yet, or worms. And this whole subject is really gross, I know. But I think you guys need to hear it, okay? So, for a month, drink it. It doesn't have a taste. It's just this powdery stuff, I mean, just pretend you're taking Miralax or something, okay? I mean, it's not anything, it's not a big deal. Just put it in some juice. Okay, so that way you catch all the newly hatching eggs or the cycling of the worms through the lungs and back to the stomach, because they're everywhere in your body. They're not just in your GI tract. They're everywhere. They're in your armpits, in your lymph nodes, in your lung area. They're everywhere. It's kind of gross when you think about it, but we can fix it. Okay, so 1 to 2 tablespoons a day mixed with liquid or food, preferably on an empty stomach. Okay, so if you start with 1 tablespoon and try to increase to 2, it's fine. Since it doesn't dissolve, stirring it several times by drinking it will keep it from settling on the bottom. Okay, because it's, like I said, it's not really a powder. It's like a silica. It's not going to dissolve real easy. So just keep your spoon in there, drink some, stir it, drink some, stir it till you get down. That's why I would suggest not using a whole lot of liquid. Okay, just, you know, maybe this much in a glass. And okay, it's no worse than taking maca. Remember when I used to tell you, maca will totally wipe out any kind of hot flashes, any kind of menopausal stuff, shaky legs, all that stuff. I'm serious. 10 days, it's done. It's like a teaspoon of that stuff in a glass of water in the morning, but it literally tastes like dirt, and you have to do the same thing, but it works. Okay, when you consume diatomaceous earth, do it on an empty stomach at least an hour before you eat, or if you don't, you know, if your schedule doesn't work that way, then like 2 hours after you eat. Okay, so an hour before you eat or 2 hours after you eat, when your stomach's had time to empty out a little bit. And then, you know, you might want to go ahead and drink an extra glass of water afterwards. Just keep things going. It'll improve the effects of the powdered stuff. Okay, let's see. Now, if you're going to, okay, there's a parasite cleanse. That I pulled up. Let's see, what did I do with it? That's a pretty easy one. Okay. Okay. All right. I think this is it right here. Yeah. Okay. Parasite cleansing using diatomaceous earth. This was one gal's thing. This was kind of a cool story. She was having a lot of issues with like diarrhea and some other kinds of like sort of allergy symptoms, and she had tied it to eggs. And she said, well, I guess can't eat eggs. And she said, but I have chickens and I love my eggs and I don't want to not eat my eggs. So she determined that she may have a parasite. So she created and did this diatomaceous earth parasite cleanse. Worked it. It was fine. After that, she didn't have any more of those symptoms. But, you know, like I said, it's one thing, you don't just get rid of parasites once. But I'll tell you this much, you'll know when they're gone, because you'll feel way better. And a lot of symptoms, achy joints, you know, irpy stomach, you know, a lot of these things you attribute to just getting older, they'll be gone. Okay. Okay, she started out with a teaspoon mixed in 8 ounces of water. She drank this either an hour before a meal or 2 hours after. The goal was to have an empty stomach, whichever way. Every day for 10 days, and increase the amount of diatomaceous earth slowly up to 2 teaspoons. So the other one was saying a tablespoon, which is 3 teaspoons. she started with 1 teaspoon and then increased to 2 teaspoons. Once you hit 10 days, take a break for 7 days. Then repeat again for 10 days. You may see something interesting in your stools being passed. Just a warning, she said. So, and so drinking the extra water, you know, some people get constipated with doing that. I don't think that would be my issue, but if you do, you can just counteract that by just drinking more water when you take it, and starting with the 1 teaspoon instead of, you know, the larger amount, and build up to 2 teaspoons, and just, you know, monitor that and make sure you get enough fluid drinking. Empty stomach, don't forget. Okay. Okay, so then you're going to experience the parasites dying. And unfortunately, they're dying inside of you. Okay? Until you can get them out of you. Your body will get rid of them, but you're going to have dead parasites in you. So it may give you a headache or maybe some brain fog. You might have a little trouble sleeping. Because they're detaching from your intestinal lining, and they're giving off, they're releasing like ammonia and nitrogen in your system because they're dying. Okay, that's what dead things do. So that's why I always recommend that you do a parasite cleanse when you're doing your other cleansing, because you're cleansing your whole body. So if you want to do that, then I would suggest just doing like the lemonade cleanse, you know, that I tell you about. That works really, really well, and it would help your liver. I mean, it would get everything cleansing so you could move those babies out of there faster. If you're going to do this one, it's 10 days on, 7 days off. So for 10 days while you were doing your diatomaceous earth stuff, you could also do your lemon cleanse, which is fresh lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and grapey, a natural maple syrup in water, distilled water. Drink that. And you know, you got to drink about 60 ounces a day for cleansing. And then, but the maple syrup will help stabilize your blood sugar so you don't go, you know, you're not swinging or, you know, having headaches or any of that stuff. It's actually a really great cleanse. And the cayenne pepper keeps all of your other stuff working right. And then do your diatomaceous earth along with it, because you're getting plenty of liquid with the lemon cleanse. And your whole body's getting cleaned out. Woohoo! Sounds good, huh? So 10 days on, 7 days off. And then see where you're at. And you might want to go back and just do a rotation of that for as long as you need to. I'm going to say I like to do it around the full moon. So when you see that the moon's going to be full, maybe go 4 days before, and then hit that full moon for the 5th day and 5 days after, because that is the most active time for parasites. It's also the best time to catch worms for fishing. So, you know, if you want to schedule it that way, then you know you've got a beginning and end to this thing. And in the meantime, you know, get yourself nice fresh lemons, and pick up some cayenne pepper and your maple syrup and some distilled water, and drink a gallon of that every day. You're not going to be hungry for much else, so you know you just want to stick with really clean eating. Whatever you do eat in the meat department, make sure it's cooked well. Don't eat anything that's not cooked well. That will not be your sushi days, okay? But, you know, try to stick with clean food. Just real clean food. Vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, that kind of thing. And give yourself 10 days like that. See what happens. Okay, so here is another few things. Oh, sorry, I have a hair and it's driving me nuts. These are some things that you can take that will help like absorb the excrement, you know, the ammonia and nitrogen and stuff, and pass it through your urine. It'll help with that. One of them is the L-ornithine supplement, which is basically an amino acid, and you can actually get that over the counter pretty much anywhere. Take 1,500 milligrams of that, which is like 3 capsules before you go to bed. Okay? It'll also help you sleep some. And let's see, what else can I do? The nice thing about diatomaceous earth versus like, now like, I'm a big proponent of ivermectin, okay? Ivermectin is horse paste. It's a dewormer. Ivermectin cures a lot of things. In fact, I had a gentleman come to me about 3 months ago, and he said, I've been diagnosed with cancer. It's like stage 4. Yeah, they've pretty much thrown in the towel. And he said, what do you think I should do? And I said, well, what do you feel like you can, you know, what are you up for? And he said, well, you know, I'm tired. I don't, you know, and I said, why don't we start with this? And I told him to go to the Tractor Supply and buy 5 boxes of ivermectin paste. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. You can get the apple flavor if you want to, but it really doesn't matter. It tastes gross any way you look at it. But I told him what to do, and, you know, I said, this is what I do. This is what I did all through the whole COVID thing and all that stuff. And I said, just put, you know, a quarter-sized blob on a cracker and eat some in the morning before you have anything else in your stomach, and then some before you go to bed. Well, I saw him the other day. He had been out to buy more ivermectin, and he was looking really good. And he told me, he said, I feel great. He said, I can't believe how much better. He said, it cost me $11 a box, and he said, I feel so great. So parasites can take you out if you're not careful. And ivermectin is really good. But like I said, the downside to ivermectin is people, you know, unless you have a really strong constitution and you can deal with stuff that tastes yucky, most people talk themselves out of taking it because it doesn't taste very good. But that's a fast way, because it's pretty strong, of deworming yourself as well. I recommend that people don't take it for longer than 5 days, and then you take a break. Even if you just did it 5 days a month around the full moon, you would probably have the same effect as this longer diatomaceous detoxing thing. But it's up to you. I mean, it's just whatever you're up for, you know, and if you're willing to just eat that nasty paste, because it doesn't taste good. I mean, even the apple flavor is like, okay. So, like I said, I just use the cracker to kind of, and then I drink a bunch of water, and I'm done. So I don't have to, you know, that's it. I don't have to do anything. It's kind of the same way I feel about my hair, you know. I don't mess with it. So I'm pretty, I can take it. So I'd rather take something nasty and be done with it than, you know, drag it out. But I like to give you options, okay? And this is a good option. Okay, so the ornithine, the L-ornithine is something that you will help with, like I said, once they start dying inside of you and they're giving off the ammonia and the nitrogen and stuff, this will help absorb it and move it through your urine, okay? Diatomaceous earth is also really good for reducing cholesterol in your blood. It takes about 6 weeks, but you can make quite a marked difference in your cholesterol level. There's that. Silica's been around forever, but it is a micronutrient. It helps with nail growth and hair and, you know, stuff like that. Helps keep your hormones in check. And skin, you know. So it's also, you know, a good little thing to add to like a face wash or a body wash or whatever. It's a little exfoliant. So, okay, everyone has parasites. We're just going to recap here. Sometimes the parasite load gets to be too much for your body and it starts affecting you in very noticeable ways. We talked about all of the GI issues, you know, that most people attribute to IBS, and more than likely it's parasites. Just saying. Don't want to take anything away from the doctors, but think about it, okay? And especially if you're around animals or you have pets, more than likely it's a thing, okay? So, diatomaceous earth is the easiest way for you to deal with that and deworm all the rest of your animals. You know, you might not be able to get your cat to take ivermectin, horse paste, but you can sprinkle a little diatomaceous earth in their food and they never even notice. They eat it. I put it in my chicken food, I put it in my goat food, I put it in for my cats and my dogs, and I do it all at the same time so I can remember. You know, they all get it for a week. And a little goes a long way. Like I said, just remember when you get the bag of it, put something around your face so you don't breathe it in and dump it into a different container that you can take a lid off of and you don't have to shake it around, you know, and then you can just scoop it out. And that way you're not inhaling it and getting it in your eyes or whatever. But fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, diarrhea that you can't control, acne, sudden onsets of food allergies, like that lady, you know, with the eggs, persistent digestive upset, bloating, gas, all that stuff, parasites. So, and like I said, the easiest way to just keep up with it, if you're not one to gag down the other stuff, is just get some diatomaceous earth and mix it in your juice or your water before you eat anything else, a teaspoon at a time. I would recommend 10 days off, 5 and 7 days. It's 10 days on, 7 days off, like the other gal said. I think that's good, but I would do it 4 days before the full moon and then the 5 days after, you know, roughly in there. Get your 10 days in. And then you have to remember that the diatomaceous earth basically sucks all the water out of them and kills them, but you need to move them out of your system. So make sure that you are drinking plenty of fluids. And a couple other things that can help with that would be wormwood. Wormwood is very good for, and you know what? It's one of the, it's in the same family as like Sweet Annie. So it has a really pleasant taste, wormwood does. I use it in my Worm Begone tincture. I put wormwood and black walnut and stinging nettle. And all of those are really good for moving the parasites out as well. Good tincture for that. Okay, so what do I do for pets? I'm going to talk a little bit about pets because we're doing it. Diatomaceous earth can help bring down your pet's internal or external parasite load. This includes fleas and lice as well as worms. Okay. Half a teaspoon for cats under 7 pounds, a teaspoon for cats at 10 pounds, and then 1.5 teaspoons for cats over 10 pounds into a single serving of wet food every day for 10 days. Okay? Then give them a 7-day break. So basically they would go on the same regimen as you. All right, we're all going to take our diatomaceous earth. I just do it, I try to do it every month, and I just do it 5 days around the full moon. So I've never really noticed that my cats have a big issue, although Hercules does a lot of hacking lately, so I might try to give him a little more rigorous dose and see if that's it, or if it's not just a fur ball. I don't know. It could be parasites for him, because he eats everything. I mean, you know, I get lizard heads and all kinds of stuff on my doors, you know, presents on my hood of my truck or whatever. So he's probably got parasites, and I should probably give him a better dose. Okay, so they get a 7-day break, and then you repeat for another 10 days. Keep their water bowls clean, and because they're going to be thirstier. And I actually put apple cider vinegar in my cat water to help with bacteria and stuff. Okay, so dogs. Half a teaspoon for under 25 pounds, a teaspoon for 25 to 50, and a tablespoon for over 50 pounds in a single serving of wet food for 10 days. Then you give them a 7-day break, and you repeat it again. So you're doing it for a month-ish, okay? But it's the natural way. You're not giving them harsh dewormers, and you're not spending $40 a box for worming stuff. You know, 1 bag of diatomaceous earth will last you a long time. Okay. The cat box, there's a little caveat here. It says you might want to get a deep litter cat box on day 5 to stop the potential for reinfection. Yeah, that's the one thing with cat boxes. You know, you're gonna have to keep up with it. You just have to scoop the poops and keep up with it. Otherwise, they'll just get reinfected. That's why I said, you know, it's almost easier if you just give them a little bit on a consistent basis and let it do its thing. And make sure they have plenty of water. Also, you know, cleaning with maybe some lavender essential oil and water, you know, around their box. You know, just doing a little extra cleaning, apple cider vinegar, that kind of thing. Chickens, I add that to my chicken feed. I usually just, like, to a 40 or 50 pound bag of food, I add about a cup of diatomaceous earth, and I just mix it all in there, and they eat it all the time. Because chickens are weird. They eat everything. Okay. And I gave you the symptoms. Oh, here's the symptoms of a parasite infection, and these are a little different. So intestinal parasite infection you're gonna obviously have diarrhea or stool issues. You're gonna have gas. You're gonna have smelly, greasy poop that floats. Vomiting, stomach cramps or pain, nausea, dehydration, probably because you have diarrhea, and a fever sometimes, excess tiredness, lack of appetite. Okay, those are all symptoms that you could have some intestinal parasites. The protozoa is one of the biggest ones. Like I said, if you guys really want to see what these things look like, Google them, get the images. It'll gross you out, but they're in your gut and they're in your body. I mean, they're not just only in your gut. They're everywhere. They're pretty creepy looking. Let's see. But they can infect your lungs, your bladder, your nervous system, including your brain, your eyes, your ears. They can even, you know, they can kill you. So that's, you know, I'm not trying to scare you, but they can kill you. And it goes unchecked because the doctor says you have something else. Oh no, you have IBS, or you have this, or you have that. And like I said, do they ever check you for parasites? Have they swabbed? Have they done any kind of test? You know, I'm sure if you asked them, could you check me for parasites, they would probably laugh at you. I don't know, maybe not. But it's going to be something that you're probably going to have to take into your own hands. And like I said, it's not going to hurt you to get rid of the parasites in you. Certainly not going to hurt. And there's no contraindications. It's not going to interact with anything else. Okay? So it's a win-win. And I would suggest that you guys think about doing that. Okay, here's a few more herbs that I pulled up that would also help to like decrease. Okay, so once you get a good cleanse going and you get rid of a good lot of parasites, berberine is one of a really good herb, and you can find berberine in like Oregon grape, goldenrod, golden seal, turmeric. What else? Gold thread. I like Oregon grape for that because it's probably one of the easier ones to get. And golden seal. Okay, so golden seal also acts like an antibiotic. So take, you know, it may be including some berberine, herbs that have berberine into your regimen would help keep parasites at bay. It might, if you're taking other medications, you might want to double check and make sure that, you know, it doesn't interact with any of those because it's different. It's a pretty powerful herb, but if you're not on any meds, then you don't need to worry about that. Papaya seeds. Papaya seeds are another one that will help keep parasites gone. And there was a clinical trial with that in, I think it's Kenya, and they ate porridge with ground papaya seeds in it for several months. And then another group, like the other group, was given the porridge, but they were given some anti-parasite med. And the group that ate the papayas had 63.9% fewer roundworms in their stools than the ones that ate the medicated ones. So, again, like I said, a lot of times the medicine for worms is not as effective because it has other crap in it. You know, just go to the good stuff and get rid of them first, kill them off with diatomaceous earth, and then try some of these other natural ways to keep them off, keep them at bay. Pumpkin seeds are another one. They're really high in amino acids and fatty acids, and they're rich in berberine, they're rich in curcumin, and I love them. I mean, that's one of my favorite snacks. So keep pumpkin seeds on hand. The amino acids, they will do some damage to parasites, okay? So, and in some cases, those amino acids alone would be enough to kill some of them. So, you know, you don't want to OD on pumpkin seeds, but you know, they're a good snack. You can eat them a little bit every day and it wouldn't hurt you, okay? They're antifungal, they're antimicrobial, and that's the other thing, you know, I've talked to you a lot of times about this herb is very antimicrobial. When I say that, ding, 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 parasites, okay? So pay attention to the antimicrobial herbs because those are the ones that will do damage to parasites. Wormwood. I already talked to you a little bit about wormwood, and it's one of my faves because, first of all, I love growing it. It's really pretty, and it has a really nice smell, and it's fun to grow. But it is a kick butt anti-parasite herb, and it also helps with like gastrointestinal issues and things. But it fights off the protozoa. It fights off the, what's that other one called? Helminth. I think it's called like a helminth. Helminths. Helminths. That's another one of the common parasites that we get. Okay, the wormwood. There's a lot of different medications that are made with that sweet wormwood. I really like it. So that's an easy one. And I actually have wormwood. I have wormwood tincture. I have a deworming tincture, but it's a nice tea. You know, it's a good one to have around. I like wormwood. Let's see. Oh, and black walnut. Black walnut is good too. It's pretty powerful. It's very strong, but it's an anti-parasite. And some of you may remember me telling you, you know, if you have like warts or cysts or moles or skin tags and things like that, black walnut will get rid of them. I mean, if you put it on topically, it works faster, but you can take black walnut internally and eventually those things just fall off. And it's because it's the result of a parasite. So, good to know, yeah? And black walnut's easy to find. Propolis is like a resin-like material that's made by bees, okay? And this is another one that's good for keeping, the protozoa parasites don't like the propolis. So that's something else. There's certain probiotics that will help keep parasites at bay. Anything that's that's antimicrobial is a good one to get. Vitamin A and zinc are good to help fight off the parasites as well. So when you're doing your parasite cleanse, okay, we talked about this earlier, try to avoid sugar and coffee and refined grains, alcohol, you know, avoid those things while you're cleansing because it's just going to slow the process down some. And, you know, you just kind of want to get this over with. Eat a lot more garlic too when you're doing your cleanse. If you feel like eating, you know, because you will be drinking more. But garlic is a good one to put in there. Again, it's a natural antibiotic, but it kills stuff. It's anti everything. Also, things like carrots and sweet potatoes, squash. All those are really good to because of the beta carotene and stuff. Parasites don't like those. But are you seeing a trend here? If we weren't eating such a heavy American diet, and if we were eating more of a clean, mucusless diet, fruits, nuts, vegetables, grains, seeds, we probably wouldn't have parasites. And that's why I say, back in the day, 60 years ago, probably when I was a baby, maybe even longer than that, parasites weren't really a thing because people ate differently. And you just, you know, you didn't have the same exposures. People that were farmers, you know, they still had their exposure from their animals and stuff, but your body was much more able to deal with it and get rid of them. But now we load up. I mean, we get to the point where we're sick. We are really sick, and it's all these crazy parasites in us. So kill them and get rid of them. And like I said, one of the easiest ways to do it, and then, you know, keeping them off, again, that diet that I just explained is very high in fiber, which is going to keep things moving, and they don't have the opportunity to camp out and, you know, make homes in there. So diatomaceous earth is the easiest way to, and like I said, you can treat everybody, your dogs, everybody can get it, and your cats, and then you don't have issues with anybody with parasites. But I'm telling you, most of the symptoms, the gas, the bloating, the headaches, the brain fog, the fatigue, ear problems, eye problems, lung problems, I'm willing to bet at least half of them are parasites. And the research says 9 out of 10 Americans have parasites, to the point where it's causing health issues. Okay? So if it's something that needs to be addressed, and it's something that is pretty much easy to fix. You know, if you don't want to buy a whole bag of diatomaceous earth, split it with somebody, you know, share. It's cheap. But just make sure that you remember to get food grade, because there are 2 different kinds. You know, there's the kind that people buy for their gardens, and they keep all the worms off things and stuff like that. But you want the food grade diatomaceous earth. You can get it at a feed store, and it's like $12 for a big old bag of it. It's very cheap. And then if you really feel like you got a serious parasite thing going on, you might want to consider the ivermectin paste. Kicks it pretty fast, but does not taste good. So, on that note, like I said, if you want to see what they look like, all these things that are in your body, you can Google parasites in humans and look at the images. But I wouldn't recommend doing it before you go to bed. Because it's pretty creepy. I mean, I looked at them and I was like, oh my gosh, these things are horrible. You know, I remember the first time I saw a picture of a bed bug. Those things are vicious looking. I mean, they're so small you don't really, but you get a magnified version of a bed bug, and it's the scariest thing ever. But wait till you see what parasites look like. The protozoa, the helminths, there's another one that starts with a C. Very, very common in humans. And you go, oh my gosh. And so, like I said, they're starting to, you know, there was somebody, I don't know why, but I'm kind of glad in the way they did, put a video on of these vials of water that were filled with parasites. I mean, just wormy looking things that they had taken out of people that had deceased. They died, and they were just full of parasites. So these things eat holes in your stomach lining, and then in your intestinal lining. They eat holes in your lungs. They eat you. Okay? So get rid of them. And do it. I'm going to say watch the moon, and when you get within 4 days of a full moon, start taking your diatomaceous earth. Take it through the full moon, and then 5 days after that. Then take 7 days off. And then repeat if you need to. But doing it around the moon is like, it's double dipping, because that's the time when the parasites are more active. So I feel like you get better results. And like I said, at the same time, if you're wanting to just do an extra cleanse, you know, do that lemonade cleanse at the same time for 10 days, and then you're getting plenty of liquid, flushing all that stuff out. I gave you a pretty good list of some different herbs that you can take that will help keep them out of you. And change your diet so that you're not don't eat anything that's not thoroughly cooked, and stick with the clean stuff. Okay? High fiber, plenty of water. Not tap water, because there's parasites in tap water. Hello. So, steam distilled water. I'm going to say that until you get sick of it. But I mean it. Alright guys, it's 8:05. Sorry, went over, but I hope this was helpful, and I enjoyed seeing everybody. I hope you have a blessed weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.